Here's a truth that almost nobody wants to hear. Motivation is a feeling. And feelings change with the weather, with the hour, with the last thing someone said to you. Motivation is the reason you started. Discipline is the reason you finish. Think about every goal you've ever abandoned. The workout plan from January. The course you bought and never opened. The project you told everyone about and then quietly let die. At the moment you started, the motivation was real. The fire was real. And then, a week, 2 weeks, a month later, the fire went out. And you told yourself a story. I'm just not a disciplined person. That story is a lie. And it's the most expensive lie you will ever believe. Discipline is not a trait you're born with. It is a skill. A skill can be learned. A skill can be built. A skill can be trained. The way you train a muscle, the way you train a language, the way you train any capacity you've ever developed in your life. And the people who seem effortlessly disciplined, they are not special. They are trained. For the next 50 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how the Stoics, the ancient philosophers who built a way of life that outlasted empires, trained discipline in themselves, and how you can build the same thing, starting tonight, starting tomorrow morning, starting with the very next hard thing you've been avoiding. By the time we're done, you will not just understand discipline. You will have a system, a set of pillars, a daily practice, and a new relationship with the hard things in your life. Not as enemies to dread, but as the very material your character is built from. That if you're ready to stop waiting for motivation and start building something that lasts, stay with me. This is the teaching that changes how you do everything. Let's start with the lie, because the lie is the cage. The lie says, discipline is a personality trait. Some people have it, some people don't. You either are a disciplined person or you aren't. And if you aren't, well, that's just who you are. The Stoics would call that something worse than an excuse. They would call it a false belief dressed as identity. And a false belief that becomes part of your self-image is the hardest thing in the world to break. Because you defend it the way you defend yourself. You don't just fail. You fail on purpose to prove the story true. See, I knew I couldn't stick with anything. Here's what the Stoics actually believed, and it will reframe everything. Character is not fixed. Character is built every single day by every single choice. Epictetus, a man born into slavery, who rose to become one of the most respected teachers of his age, said it plainly. No man is free who is not master of himself. Not born free, not gifted freedom, master of himself, through practice, through daily work, through the accumulation of small victories over his own impulses. Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, the most powerful human being on the planet, did not wake up disciplined. He wrote in his private journal, the one we now call meditations, reminders to himself, not to others, to himself. He was literally coaching his own mind every day in writing. The most powerful man in the world had to work at this every single day if you've been telling yourself that discipline is for other people, people who are built differently, people who had better parents, people who are just wired right. Let go of that story right now. It was never true. It was the comfortable version. The version that lets you off the hook. The uncomfortable version, the true version, is this: discipline is a muscle. And like every muscle in your body, it grows only one way. Under load, under repetition, under the deliberate, unglamorous daily choice to do the thing you don't want to do. Here's the good news hidden in that truth. A muscle doesn't care who you are. It doesn't care about your past. It doesn't care about your excuses. It responds to one thing only: consistent load. Give it that, and it grows. Refuse to give it that, and it stays weak. It's mechanical. It's fair. It's the most democratic thing in the world. You are not here by accident. You are here because some part of you already knows the story is a lie. Some part of you is ready to build. In the next part, we're going to define what discipline actually is, because most people get that wrong too. And if you get the definition wrong, you'll spend your life chasing the wrong thing. Before we build anything, we have to tear down the false picture of discipline that's been sold to you your whole life. When most people picture discipline, they picture a drill sergeant, someone with a voice like thunder, forcing themselves through pain, denying themselves everything enjoyable, grinding through life with gritted teeth. A punishment, A prison sentence you serve for the crime of wanting things. That picture is wrong. And it's not just wrong, it's harmful. Because if discipline feels like punishment, your mind will fight it every step of the way. You'll avoid it. You'll sabotage it. You'll quit the moment it hurts. Nobody sustains a punishment for years. Here's what discipline actually is, and I want you to write this down in your mind. Discipline is the ability to do what you said you would do, whether you feel like it or not. That's it. That's the whole definition. It's not about pain. It's not about suffering. It's about agreement with yourself. It's the integrity between your word and your action. When you say you'll do something, and you do it, even on the days you don't want it, you're being disciplined. And every single time you do that, you deposit trust into your own account. You become someone your future self can rely on. Think about what that actually does to a person. Most people live in a state of low-level self-betrayal. They tell themselves they'll start Monday. They don't. They tell themselves they'll go to the gym. They don't. They tell themselves they'll write, they'll call, they'll save, they'll stop. They don't. And every broken promise to yourself is a withdrawal from your self-trust. After enough withdrawals, you don't even believe yourself anymore. You stop making promises, even to yourself. You stop expecting things from yourself. You become a person who can't be counted on by the one person who matters most, you. Discipline reverses that. It rebuilds self-trust, one kept promise at a time. And here's the beautiful part. Self-trust is the foundation of everything. Confidence is not built by positive affirmations. Confidence is built by the evidence of kept promises. Every time you do the hard thing, you prove to yourself, I am someone who finishes. That evidence accumulates. And eventually, you walk into rooms differently. You speak differently. You attempt things other people won't because you know, from evidence, not hope, that you'll follow through. So discipline is not the enemy of freedom. It is the source of freedom. The undisciplined person is not free. They're a slave to their impulses, their moods, their cravings, their phone. They do what they feel like doing, which means they're controlled by whatever feeling is loudest in any given moment. The disciplined person is the free one. They've taken the steering wheel back from their emotions. They decide, and then they execute. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher who advised emperors, wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Waste, he said, not fake, not bad luck. Waste. The undisciplined life is not a life that was taken from you. It's a life that leaked away, moment by moment, through the cracks of doing what you felt like instead of what you chose. Now, there's one more thing we need to clear up before we build the pillars. And it's the distinction that separates people who understand this teaching from people who just collect quotes. Discipline is not the same as force. Forcing yourself through sheer willpower is like sprinting. You can do it for a short distance, and then you collapse. Discipline built on willpower alone always fails, because willpower is a finite resource that depletes through the day. Real discipline is a system. It's structure. It's environment. It's identity. It's the 4 pillars we're about to build. It doesn't rely on you feeling strong. It works even when you feel nothing at all. That's the difference between people who are disciplined for a week and people who are disciplined for decades. The week-long ones are sprinting. The decade-long ones build a system. In the next part, we lay the first pillar. And it's the most important one, because if you get this one wrong, everything else crumbles. The first pillar of Stoic discipline is the foundation of the entire philosophy. And it's one sentence: know the difference between what is in your control and what is not. Epictetus opened his handbook, the Enchiridion, with this exact teaching. Some things are in our control, and others are not. Then he listed them. In our control, our opinions, our choices, our desires, our aversions, our actions, everything that is our own doing. Not in our control, our bodies, our reputations, our wealth, other people, the weather, the outcome of our efforts, everything that is not our own doing. Now here's the discipline's secret buried in this teaching, and it will change how you spend every ounce of energy for the rest of your life. Most people spend their energy on the second pile, the things they cannot control, and then wonder why they're exhausted, frustrated, and stuck. Think about your own life. How much of your mental energy goes to things you cannot control? Other people's opinions of you. Whether they text back, whether the video performs, whether the economy cooperates, whether the person you love stays, whether the plan works out. You can't control any of it, and yet you spend hours, days, years turning it over in your mind, replaying it, dreading it, trying to manage it. This is not discipline. This is the opposite of discipline. This is energy poured into a bottomless pit. The disciplined person does something almost radical in its simplicity. They refuse to spend energy where it cannot change. Anything, your effort, your choices, your words, your preparation, your showing up, that's pile one. That's yours. Spend everything there. The result, the reception, the outcome, the timing, pile two. Not yours. Let it go completely. Can you control whether the video goes viral? No. Can you control whether you show up and make the best video you can make today? Yes. Can you control whether they say yes? No. Can you control what you say, how you say it, how you prepare? Yes. That here's the discipline equation that follows. The disciplined person does not need the outcome to go their way in order to feel okay. They did their part. The rest was never theirs to control. And because they never attach their peace to the outcome, they can keep going, whether the outcome is good or bad. The undisciplined person collapses when the outcome goes wrong, because they stake their entire self-worth on it. The disciplined person keeps showing up because their worth was never on the line. This is the deepest freedom in Stoicism. And it's also the most practical tool for building discipline, because here's what happens to a person who stops controlling outcomes. They become unstoppable. Nothing can discourage them. Nothing can stop them. They just keep doing the next right thing forever. And that's the definition of discipline that lasts. Now, let me give you a warning about this pillar, because people get it wrong in two directions. The first wrong direction, using "it's not in my control" as an excuse to do nothing. It's not in my control whether I succeed, so why try? That's not Stoicism. That's surrender wearing Stoic clothes. The Stoics were action-obsessed. Epictetus said the philosopher's job is to act on what is in your control, fully, completely, with everything you have. The dichotomy is not permission to stop trying. It's permission to stop suffering while you try. The second wrong direction, secretly still controlling the outcome, just with your face. You do the work, but your inner state is still "this has to work." The discipline collapses because your peace is still hostage. The mastery is doing the work with full effort and holding the outcome with an open hand. Effort and attachment are not the same thing. You can pour everything into the effort and absolutely nothing into the anxiety about the result. Here's your practice for this pillar, starting today. Every time you catch yourself anxious about something, a message, a result, a judgment, a decision, pause and ask one question. Is this in my control? If it's not, put it down. Literally picture yourself putting it on a shelf labeled, "Not mine." If it is in your control, ask the second question. Have I done my part? If you haven't, go do it. If you have, you're done. The rest belongs to the shelf. Point one question. Two answers. That's the entire practice. And it's the first pillar of a disciplined life. Let me give you one more practical detail, because the details are what make this work. Set the hard thing the night before. Decide tonight, specifically, concretely, what you'll do in the first 20 minutes of tomorrow. Write it down. Put it where you'll see it. Preparation removes the decision. The disciplined person doesn't decide in the morning what to do. They already decided last night. The morning is just execution. And when the morning comes, do not negotiate. The mind will offer deals. Just 5 more minutes. Just check one thing first. Just start tomorrow. These are not rational suggestions. They're the resistance talking in the voice of reason. Recognize the voice. Smile at it. And do the thing anyway. Point 20 minutes. First thing every day. That single practice, repeated, will change your life more than any productivity system ever invented. That I feared. That's the line. Is this the condition that I feared? The answer is always no. The feared condition, once faced, is almost never as bad as the anticipation. And that lesson, learned in 100 small voluntary discomforts, is what makes you brave enough to face the big ones. Here's your one-sentence takeaway for this pillar. The disciplined person is not someone who feels no discomfort. They are someone who is no longer afraid of it. And you become that person the same way you become anything, one small, deliberate, uncomfortable choice at a time. Pillar. Everything else is commentary. Marcus Aurelius wrote, Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Not discuss it. Not plan it. Not wait until you're ready. Be one. The being is not the result of preparation. The being is the practice. And the practice is daily, consistent, unremarkable, and unstoppable. Now we have to be honest about the hard part. Because discipline is easy to talk about at noon, when you're rested and motivated and the plan feels fresh. It's harder at 3 a.m. It's harder on day 12. It's harder when nothing has changed yet, and the voice in your head is asking the question that has ended more journeys than anything else. Is this even working? Let me name the 4 enemies of discipline, and give you the Stoic weapon against each one. Enemy 1. You will fail. Not maybe. You will. You'll miss a day. You'll break a promise to yourself. You'll have a week that looks like a total regression, and in that moment, the voice will offer you a deal. Since you already failed, you might as well quit. The streak is broken. It doesn't count anymore. That voice is the enemy, and it's lying. Here's the truth the Stoics would give you. Failure is not the opposite of discipline. Failure is part of the process of discipline. It's not a sign you're doing it wrong. It's a sign you're doing it at all. The only people who never fail are people who never attempt. Epictetus said, "It is impossible to begin to learn that which one thinks one already knows." Failure is not the end of learning. It is the primary mechanism of learning. Every fall is data. Every miss is information. The question is never, did I fail? The question is always, what did I learn? And am I back tomorrow? The Stoic weapon against failure is this: separate the event from the story. The event is, you missed a day. That's it. That's all that happened. The story is the avalanche of shame and self-judgment you pile on top. I always fail. I'm not disciplined. This will never work. The event is small. The story is what kills you. Take the event, learn from it, drop the story, and be back tomorrow. Never miss. Twice. Enemy 2, boredom. The second enemy is the one nobody warns you about because it's invisible. After the initial excitement fades, after the newness, the novelty, the early wins, discipline becomes boring. The same action, the same page, the same workout. And boredom is dangerous because the mind interprets boredom as a signal that something is wrong. This isn't working. This isn't for me. I should try something new. So you quit the boring thing and chase the exciting thing, and the cycle begins again. Here's the Stoic truth. Boredom is not a sign that something is wrong. Boredom is the sign that you've moved past the excitement and into the actual work. The excitement phase is not where discipline is built. The boring phase is where discipline is built. The person who can stay in the boring phase day after identical day is the person who gets everything. The excitement seekers are always starting, never arriving. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not be whiny about what is necessary. The work is necessary. The repetition is necessary. The boring Tuesday is the thing that makes the extraordinary possible. Embrace the boring. It's the secret passage." Enemy 3, the voice in your head. Visual, a person sitting still, eyes closed. Subtitles of the inner voice. You can do it tomorrow. Just one day off. This is pointless. The third enemy is the loudest and the most convincing. The voice in your head. The voice that offers reasons. Rational, reasonable-sounding reasons to stop. You're tired. You've earned a break. One day won't matter. You'll start again Monday. It's not the right time. You're not in the mood. Here's what you need to understand about this voice. It is not you. It is a program. It is the part of your mind that evolved to conserve energy, avoid risk, and keep you comfortable. And it is terrified of the disciplined life because discipline is change and change is risk. So it will argue with you endlessly in the most persuasive voice you know, your own. The Stoics had a technique for this. They called it the view from above. Stepping outside your own mind and watching it the way you'd watch a stranger. When the voice starts negotiating, don't argue with it. Arguing gives it power. Instead, notice it, label it. There's the resistance. Watch it the way you'd watch a weather system move through. And then, this is the key, act anyway. The voice doesn't have to be quiet for you to move. It just has to be ignored. Epictetus said, "Men are disturbed not by things, but by the views they take of them." The voice is a view. You are not required to agree with it. Enemy 4. The absence of results. The fourth enemy is the quietest and the most devastating. The absence of results. You've been disciplined for weeks. Nothing has changed. The body looks the same. The work hasn't paid off. The account hasn't grown. And the mind says, see, it's not working. All that effort for nothing. Here's the Stoic answer, and it's the one you'll need most. The results are coming, but they come on a different schedule than your effort. Effort is daily and visible. Results are seasonal and sudden. The farmer plants in spring and harvests in autumn, but between planting and harvest, the work is invisible. Underground, the seed is working the whole time, but you can't see it. And most people quit during the invisible season, which is exactly why most people never harvest. The Stoics called this the doctrine of progress over perfection. You do not need to see the result. You need to trust the process. Not blind trust, evidence-based trust. The process has worked for everyone who has ever completed it. The compounding you learned in the last pillar doesn't stop working just because you can't see it. It's working right now, underground. Your job is not to check on it. Your job is to keep planting, daily, consistently, without needing to see the sprout. Seneca wrote, "As is a tale, so is life. Not how long it is, but how good it is." You're not writing the ending right now. You are writing the daily pages. The ending takes care of itself if the pages keep coming. So here's your practice for the hard moments. All four enemies, one tool. When the voice starts, when the boredom bites, when the failure stings, when the results are invisible, go back to the first pillar. Is this in my control? The effort is. The result isn't. Do the effort. Drop the result. Be back tomorrow. Never miss twice. That's the whole system for surviving the hard moments. It's not complicated. It's just not easy. But nothing worth building ever is. Now we come to the deepest layer of this teaching. And it's the layer that turns discipline from a struggle into an identity. Everything we've built so far, the four pillars, the practices, the weapons against the hard moments, all of it points to one destination: becoming the person who does hard things. Not the person who tries to do hard things. Not the person who plans to do hard things. Not the person who is always about to start. The person who simply does them. The way other people breathe. That here's the truth about that person, and it will save you years. They are not stronger than you. They are not better than you. They are not made of different material. They have simply decided once clearly and permanently who they are, and every action they take flows from that decision. The decision is the thing. Everything else is just follow through. Let me ask you the question that everything hinges on. Who are you? Not who you hope to be. Not who you'll be when you get your act together. Who are you right now, in the moments when no one is watching? Here's the beautiful, terrifying truth. You become who you pretend to be. The person who gets up at dawn and does the hard thing first. At first, they're pretending. They don't feel like a disciplined person. They feel like a fraud, but they keep doing it. And one day, sentence, I am the person who does hard things. Say it out loud. Not as an affirmation. Affirmations are wishes. Say it as a command, a statement of fact about who you are. And then, this is the part that makes it true. Act on it within the first hour. Do the hard thing first. Give the sentence evidence. Because a statement without evidence is a wish, and a statement with evidence is an identity. Here's what happens when you do this for weeks, for months. The hard thing stops being a test you might fail and becomes simply what you do. The gym is not a test of willpower. It's where you go on Tuesdays. The writing is not a test of talent. It's what you do before the phone. The conversation is not a test of courage. It's just honesty. The resistance hasn't disappeared. It's still there, every day, offering its deals. But it has learned that you don't negotiate. And a resistance that knows you won't negotiate becomes background noise, that there's one more thing you need to know about becoming this person. And it's the most important thing in this entire teaching. You will not feel ready. Do it anyway. The person who does hard things does not feel ready. They feel the same fear, the same resistance, the same voice. They do it anyway. That's the entire difference. Readiness is not a prerequisite for action. Action is a prerequisite for readiness. You don't build the identity first and then act. You act first and the identity follows. You are not waiting for the person you want to be. You are the raw material of that person. Right now, in this moment, with this next choice, Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." The freedom is not in the absence of resistance. The freedom is in the mastery, in knowing that the resistance will come and that you are not required to obey it. That knowledge is not given to you. It is built daily by you. Starting now. So here's your choice, and it's the only choice that matters. In the next 24 hours, you will face a hard thing. You know which one it is. It's been waiting, and when you meet it, you will either be the person who does hard things or the person who talks about them. The decision happens in a single moment, and you've already made thousands of versions of it. The question is only whether you'll make a different one this time. Be the person who does hard things. Not because it's easy, not because you feel ready, because it's who you're becoming. And the only way to become him is to start being him today with the very next hard thing. Let's come back to where we started. 50 minutes ago, I told you that motivation is a feeling, and feelings change with the weather. Discipline is a skill, and skills can be built by anyone. Starting today, look at what you now hold. You have the definition. Discipline is doing what you said you would do, whether you feel like it or not. You have the 4 pillars, the dichotomy of control, the hard thing first, voluntary discomfort, consistency over intensity. You have the weapons against the hard moments. Never miss twice. Embrace the boring. Ignore the voice. Trust the invisible season. And you have the identity. You are the person who does hard things, and you become him by acting like him. Today, starting with the very next hard thing. You don't need more information. You've never needed more information. You need one decision, and then 20 minutes tomorrow morning. That here's your promise to yourself. Say it now, out loud or in your mind, and make it real. Tomorrow, before anything else, I will do the hard thing for 20 minutes. And if I miss a day, I will never miss twice. That's it. That's the whole teaching. That's the whole system. The rest is just Tuesday mornings. And the person you're becoming is already looking forward to them. If this teaching reached you today, that's not an accident. And if you're ready to keep building, if you want more of these teachings, more of this path, then subscribe. Because this is only the beginning of the work. There is more, and it builds. But before you go, do this one thing. Right now, wherever you are, decide. Not the vague decision, the specific one. Name the hard thing, and tell yourself the truth. I'm the person who does hard things. The voice will have opinions about this. Let it. You're not listening to it anymore. Tomorrow morning, 20 minutes. The hard thing first, and then the rest of your life, the disciplined life, the free life begins. If this deep guide has brought clarity to your journey today, hit the like button, share this video with someone who needs to hear these words, and subscribe to this channel for more raw, uncompromised ancient wisdom. Thank you for your precious time. Stay detached, stay unshakable, and go dominate your process today.